Hey, hello everyone, and I know you're surprised to see us in the middle of the week, but it's the IPL 2022. We've got more teams, we've got more matches, more excitement, more silly ads on TV, and the ads are getting sillier by the day for sure. A lot of excitement over this weekend. So what we decided was that we are going to go beyond just the one show on the weekend. We're going to do a little bit of a midweek review. So welcome to our first ever midweek review for the IPL 2022. I have with me Rishabh, who's going to join me today in reviewing the matches uh, and all of the wonderful stuff that happened over the IPL. Rishabh, any first comments before we get into all of the excitement of the matches, all of the controversies, all of the new rules we learned, the LBW issues, the new players? Any first comments?
Um, it's been what 14 years and counting, and yet we feel that there are still new things that we're learning every single day. But keeping that fact aside, I think 10 teams, enough opportunities for different players, new players upcoming. We see uncapped players playing IPL for the first time, making debuts, and yet leaving their mark. So great uh, season so far, and really looking forward to more stuff that's going to come in by these uncapped players, by Indian players, and the teams that are going to shape up as things move forward.
That's a fantastic point, right? 14 years and we're still not bored of this. People keep asking how you're not bored of IPL. It just keeps getting more exciting. On that note of excitement, here's something that's really exciting, Rishabh, our points table. If someone before the start of the season had come and told that Mumbai and Chennai would be at the bottom and Delhi scraping nearby, what would you say?
Um, Probably would not have believed it. I could have placed my money, I could have made a bet that this is something that is absolutely not possible. Mumbai having a difficult start, well, that's a giver.
That's just part and parcel of IPL, right?
Almost every single time that's true, but they're yet to win a game. It's been 4 matches for both of the teams. That is something that is um, no one probably would have foreseen or predicted at the beginning of the season. So yeah, really surprised with the way things have started off.
Excellent. So we've definitely got a lot of excitement though, because we look at the points table, 8 teams are within 2 points of each other essentially, right? Because you've got 5 teams jammed up at 6 points and you've got 3 teams at 4. Just the two biggest names in the tournament not winning any match, but otherwise I think the points table looks set to looks in prime form for a wonderful season to be set up. With that, let's go ahead and get a little deeper into this wonderful season that we're talking about. We're going to cover 6 matches today. We're only going to touch on the 6 matches, the 2 matches, the 4 matches over the weekends, and then the one match tomorrow. And then we'll try to sneak in a little bit about how well we can predict the upcoming matches, right? So stay tuned for that. And let's begin with the first match that we're going to preview and that or review. That match is, of course, the match between Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad. Both teams essentially at the bottom of the table when they were at the when they played the match. We know one of them has just gone off the bottom, which is Sunrisers Hyderabad. And it's a little funny to be saying this about Chennai because they're just doing very well in the match that's ongoing as we speak. But problems for Chennai, Rishabh, I certainly think that they need Rituraj Gaikwad to come through, and I think they're also missing Deepak Chahar. But what are your opinions on Chennai?
I think as far as their batting lineup is concerned, this is how Chennai's team has predominantly always looked at. Uh, there are certain players that they have always counted on, which is the likes of Raidu, Moin Ali, Ravindra Jadeja, Dwayne Bravo for that matter, MS Dhoni. A pair, an opening pair that no one would really believe in at the game at the beginning of every season, and towards the end of the season, everyone feels that this is the pair that they need to go out for in the next auction. I think the only place where Chennai is seriously missing out on options is a bowling unit. Yes, Kwaikat hasn't really gotten going, but with the kind of atmosphere that's there, he would come into the form and to the rhythm that he is known for. But I think they're missing out on a proper bowling lineup that could fetch them wickets in the power play. Stop the run flow during the mid overs. I think that's where they're most missing out on a player like Deepak Chahar and more.
Yeah, Deepak Chahar is hurting them even with a little bit of pinch hitting, right? His absence, I'm sure they're feeling quite severely, and the results show that. But also, Chennai is a little bit of a new entrant even in the middle, right? The part that Chennai was a strong guest was the captaincy and the brilliance of Dhoni. And now with the new captain in place, I think they're still finding their feet. But as you said, they're a quality side that will come out.
Yeah.
Um,
At the same time, they've focused on a lot of players. Mukesh Chaudhary, Shivam Dubey now getting that rhythm back.
yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of time for them to have that one good game, probably the ongoing game, but that one good game and a proper bowling lineup, and you would see Chennai bouncing back, hopefully.
Yeah, there were a lot of memes at the start of the season that the only way Shivam Dubey can find some success is if he's under the shadow of MSD, right? And yeah, unfortunately, he's finding success at the wrong time for me, but I'm happy that he's finding success nonetheless. The other side of this match was, of course, the performance by SRH. I think their team was also just starting to come together. I know that they're still depending very heavily on Williamson being that linchpin for them. Williamson this year is somehow playing like KL Rahul last year, right? He's holding his shots back. He's trying to stay around for the longer duration, and of course, Abhishek is helping things by improving their run rate. Comments on SRH, Rishabh?
Um, it's exciting to see that finally performance of Abhishek is helping SRH win, given that the name is not really that popular with regards to Bollywood. But I think the major problem where SRH is struggling is I still don't see Kane Williamson as an opener, uh, despite several opinions that are out there. He's more suited as a one down option. They need to give more flexibility to maybe start off with maybe Washington Sundar coming in as an opener. They have a good bowling lineup. That's always been the trademark for an SRH unit as such. They've found their key folks. They found their probably best 11 as such. I still feel that they've won the games, the game that they won against Chennai and another game that we would discuss, because of the likes of Abhishek Sharma and Puran and others who stepped in and took the game away from the opposition. But I still feel one thing that needs to be changed about the entire unit is maybe Williamson coming one down, anchoring the innings from there, and not right from the go, because you need to make the most of power plays. So I think that's one thing that I would probably want SRH to change and try out some sort of experimentation there.
They could try pushing Aiden Mark from up top to open as well, right?
Yeah.
They do have other batsmen in the hut, but for some reason, I think Williamson's going the Kohli way or the KL way. Looks exciting. I'm happy that Washington Sundar is back in some bowling rhythm. I think the first couple of matches he went for a ton, but then I think he's pulled back, so he's working well for them. Their bowling department not as strong as it was last year, but still a pretty good unit coming together nonetheless.
Good to see even Umran Malik getting all the headlines solely because of the pace, and a young Indian bowler which got retained before the start of the season shows the amount of trust that the SRH unit has put in. He has got that pace. They have good mentors in the bowling department at the SRH unit. Probably should see him coming up with the flying colors as well.
Was I mistaken? Did they retain Abdul Samad as well?
Yes, there were 3 retentions, 2 uncapped players, youngsters, Umran Malik and Abdul Samad, and Williamson as the first choice.
All right, fantastic. Good match. One of the matches that wasn't really hampered by dew too much, so good match to watch. Good to see SRH coming back into shape. Which brings me on the theme of good things to see to the second match, which was RCB versus Mumbai. I think it was a fantastic match for me personally. I've got to say, if you look at the way RCB played out that match, they dominated with the bowling. I know Sky did his usual stuff, which was, of course, good for Sky to get into form for Mumbai. But I think a great bowling result for RCB, tight in the field, and the batting. When RCB goes through that usual motion of their top 3 performers go out at one point, they then look really bad. And DK has been just such an absolute revelation here, right? Controversial LBW decision as well, but I think happy match for RCB fans. We don't care about the LBW decision now.
Absolutely. I think one major thing that has been hurting Mumbai, not just the fact that their bowling lineup hasn't been that great, it's just not up to the mark that we have known Mumbai over the many years that they have played IPL. But apart from that, let's also address the elephant in the room. Rohit Sharma hasn't really been able to live up to the title, the role that he carries, the kind of player that he is for quite a long time for Mumbai in general as such, right? And of course, they're missing the all rounders that they have groomed over the last many years in terms of Pandya brothers, even Rahul Chahar for that matter. They predominantly lack a proper spinner which could contain runs in the middle overs. So I think that's where Mumbai is lacking. Hopefully, they are building for the future, as they say, right? So hopefully we might see Tendulkar in action both off the ground and on the ground as such.
Which Tendulkar is the question, though, right?
Yeah, I leave that up to questions and opinions as such. But I think given the way they are heading into, we might see Tendulkar in action both on the ground and off the ground very actively as such. So that's for Mumbai. I feel that they're lacking a proper quality spinner, and they have gotten to great starts. They have gotten Sky or Ishan Kishan to anchor the innings almost throughout the entire 20 overs as such. But I think they need more power hitters. They need their premium batters to kick in.
I think they have a power hitter. I think Paulie is just not in form. I'm convinced that through the season he will come into form. But the reason that at this point I still wouldn't bet my money on Mumbai is their lack of spinning option. As the season goes on, with the pitches that are going to get worn out, spinners are going to get more and more predominant, right? And unfortunately, they just have to keep searching. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if at some time maybe Rohit claims on his arm around, because you just have Murugan Ashwin, and he's good, but he's not a spinner that you can bank on, right? So he's not
another key find for them is Tilak Verma. An exciting player to watch out for, and let's see what wonders he could do.
I fear to say that they're going the RCB way from a few seasons ago, right? You power up the batting, but you're leaking runs the other end, right? So I think unless they find a way to fix that, which I don't see answers for right now, but yeah, that's where Mumbai stands on that match.
Yeah, they need to be a little more optimistic, a little more focused, and that's where Arjun could make a difference. But on the contrary, I feel while things are falling in place finally for RCB right at the beginning of the season as well, I still feel du Plessis is yet to kick in. That's one thing that's getting hidden amongst all the good things that's happening for RCB. Their batting unit is finally into place with Anuj Rawat doing wonders at the as an opener. You've got Kohli, Maxwell as your middle batters, and then you have Shahbaz Ahmed and DK playing their wonderful knock against Arar as well back then. So I think they've gotten their unit sorted. If du Plessis comes into form, I think there's no stopping to the way RCB would go about as a batting unit.
I'm still comfortable with that, right? Because you remember du Plessis last season also, he took his time to start off.
Yeah.
But then once he got into form, he stayed in form. Right? And that's something I've come to expect of Chennai's top order. You remember Watson a few years ago, he came into form late, but
Rutu's wildcard last season.
Yeah. So I'm confident that in the finals, du Plessis is going to have a century. So.
Oh.
We can hope. Right?
And still losing from there.
No, I mean it's. Well, I wouldn't be surprised, but let's not jinx it at this point, right? Which brings me to the third match. By far one of the most dominant performances I feel in this IPL with bat and ball. This was Delhi versus Kolkata. I think Delhi did what a lot of teams batting first have tried to do, which is pile up so many runs that you tip that inflection point. And in my opinion, that's around 220 is the ideal mark, where even a team that's chasing is put under pressure, right? Usually teams that chase have the comfort of pacing their innings. But once you push that 220 kind of mark, my assumption is that it starts mounting pressure and leading to you doing silly things and giving the chase away, which I felt is what happened. Delhi, of course, all-round strong performance. Prithvi Shaw, Warner coming to the party, pumped a few quick hits, and their bowling department again was very, very tight as such. Right, they didn't really lead too many runs. Of course, Shardul and Rovman Powell, but generally, I think they were a very tight unit, and KKR didn't have the answers for them.
I think predominantly another thing that has gotten better this year at Delhi is Kuldeep Yadav. I think he has turned up big time for Delhi this season, and it's complementing with the twin that's there, the spinning twin that's there in form of Akshar Patel. They have also been very smart with regards to the way they have gone about in auctions, getting Shardul Thakur who could bat and turn around games for them. I only feel that slightly their batting unit in the middle order is a little weak. Probably just waiting for Lalit Yadav or Powell or someone else to come in and keep the momentum going from where they are already. But yeah, I think that's where they need to probably. That's just one thing that I probably see that Delhi needs to probably take care of. Otherwise, they've got an explosive batting side with regards to the way that they have openers, bowlers, and everything.
I just feel that Warner is so used to nursing that innings, right? Because he did that for a very long time with SRH as well.
Right, yeah.
I think if Prithvi Shaw clicks at the top and one of the others come to the party with Warner, I think their batting is dependable.
Yep.
I'm most impressed by their by their opening, which anytime that Prithvi Shaw takes off is always a good sign. Right? Problems with KKR? Are you convinced Ajinkya Rahane should be opening?
No, absolutely not. It's just that they are again, in a way, following a similar template. But I think Narayan has been so great for them with regards to as an opener. Why would you want to restrict yourself with getting Rahane as your opener? I mean, that's one ideology that's just beyond understanding for me, because Shreyas Iyer could be that glue, that anchor, who could just hit you for runs and yet anchor the innings, not just playing hit and miss sort of a person. And then you have Nitish Rana as well as your another anchor should there be a collapse as such. So I still feel Rahane.
Right? I think Nitish Rana is not so much an anchor player as an explosive batsman. But he
It
hasn't
depends.
come to that party in quite some time, though.
It depends, because the luxury that KKR has is they have too many proper all-rounders. You have Cummins, you have Russell, you have Narayan, and that takes care of makes your betting very deep. So why would probably you want to have an anchor at the beginning of the innings is something that is just not acceptable for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that they probably need to consider and change as such.
You also need to consider that Sunil Narayan coming in at over 18 or 17 is probably not as valuable as him blasting a few in the top, right? It could be hit or miss, but that in that power play when there's lesser fielders outside, I think that's much more valuable.
That's precisely, yeah. But I think other than that, they look a very good side, which was not the case at the beginning of the IPL season. It's just that almost every single player is kicking in. You see Umesh Yadav coming in as a proper surprise package altogether. So I think
I wasn't surprised. I think ever since he left RCB, I was convinced he was going to come back into that wicket taking form, which he had at one point for RCB, right? So it's just times 1.5 or times 2 right now, which is to be expected.
Yep.
All right, exciting match. This was the first match on Sunday. For the second match, Rishabh, over to you, Rajasthan versus Lucknow.
It's so refreshing to see that finally the performances of Rajasthan Royals is meeting their performances on social media. They're not just very active and very vocal on the way they go about everything on social media, but even on a ground as such. Finally, a good team Rajasthan Royals have in a IPL season after a long while. They've gotten good premium bowlers. They've gotten good batters. I think they still miss a proper batting all-rounder that could get you an impetus should there be a collapse as such. And I'm not really sure the way they are going about their bowling quota. You look at the last two games, the game that we are discussing against Lucknow or the game that they lost against RCB. Both of the games, they were at a very good situation while defending. And I'm not taking anything away from the brilliance that DK brought in that game, but there could still have been a lot of moments in that game and even in this game where Arar could have lost again from a very good position. So I think Samson needs to go very smart about the way he is utilizing his bowlers. He needs to think, while it's important to go for the kill, it's not worth it if you're going for that move at the expense of a match. So I think proper utilization of bowlers, maybe bringing in maybe bringing in Nisham in place of Recife Anderson would get you that extra bowling option along with Riyan Parag, and that would make you a proper format, a side to beat in this particular season.
I think you bring in Jimmy Neesham for Vanderdussen, push Neesham down the order,
Yeah,
bring in Yashasvi Jaiswal to step in at 4. Maybe they could juggle Samson and Yashasvi based on right-left combination.
right left.
So you manage Joss Butler and Padikkal with them, and I think you've got a great squad going about. Riyan Parag, again, the mystery of what Riyan Parag is going to do. Care to comment, Rishabh, before we jump on to Lucknow?
I think the way Rajasthan think tank is looking at Riyan Parag is similar to the kind of role that DK is playing at RCB, which is they know that they have got, and I'm sorry that I could not cover this. They've finally invested in a proper number 5 batter, which is Shimron Hetman, and he has already paid dividends to Arar in the 4 games that they have played. Almost every single match he has turned up, he has turned the game upside down by scoring that quick 20, 30, 40, even 50 runs in a span of in a very short span. So I think Riyan Parag is going to play that role should Shimran Hetman is not able to give that impetus to the RR innings. But I think they need to look at more than the option of just getting 5 bowlers completing their quota. And I think that's where they're missing the trick of bringing in Jimmy Neesham, bringing in Riyan Parag to bowl, to give you that flexibility as a unit, that you have more options and not just the 5 bowlers that you would want to bowl out. You have gotten good bowlers. They are performing very well, but once in a while, that one over might just take the game away from you. And that's where I think they need to solve for.
Yeah, from one, I feel Samson's one of the most understated captains, right? He doesn't put on airs. He just does his job. From one of the most understated captains, one of the most underconfident captains, KL Rahul. What's going on with him? What will it take for him to get into runs, Rishabh?
It looks like it's almost the opposite of what he was doing at Punjab. He was scoring tons of runs, but Punjab was losing. But here he's not able to get started, and the team is still winning. They've gotten good team, no second thoughts whatsoever. On papers, I think Lucknow is probably the strongest team. Delhi would still come in second, but for me, on paper, the strongest team that is there in IPL this season is Lucknow.
Any team that brings in Marcus Stoinis at number 8 is one of the strongest teams in the world, right? So,
yeah, I mean that's just beyond questions as to what really happened with the strategy in that particular game. Once in a while, you get in K. Gautam to come one down because the wicket fell right of the first ball. Makes sense just to change the mindset. But Marcus Stoinis that late when you're chasing, when things are starting to get escalated, I think that just did not make sense. But yeah, I think they've gotten good side. They have gotten even the uncapped players. Ayush Badoni has been really great for the team so far. They've gotten good bowling lineup as well. I think Lucknow is hands down one of the best teams that we have in this season. Just they need to be very wise in what they do in terms of experimentation. But other than that, I think they have almost everything sorted as such. They just need to be very wise in not doing too much in the name of an experimentation and playing with the mindset of the opposition.
It's just funny to see, did Rahul leave Punjab or did Punjab leave Rahul, right? I mean, you can or you can take the Rahul out of Punjab, but can you take the Punjab out of Rahul, right? So I look forward to him coming to form, because when he's in form, this team is really mighty. With him a little shaky, I think he was a confidence of Punjab, right? So when he's not in good form, then that's always a little bit of a bad pointer to them. All right. With that, I think we come to the last match that we're going to review, which is Sunrisers versus Gujarat. Comments, Rishabh?
An orange team and an orange army making a clinical victory in Gujarat against Gujarat. Not something that I've never heard of before. But I think this probably could be the pivot for Sunrisers Hyderabad again to move in the right direction. I think we have covered in depth and in great detail as to what really is missing for Sunrisers. But things are finally looking great for them. They just need to. I personally feel they just need to make that one change of making Williamson come one down and getting someone else to open. But I think other than that, I think they have finally found their best 11 as such. And they have got good reserves as well should any of the bowlers is not available in forms of Kartik Tyagi as well. So I think Sunrisers Hyderabad, I think they've gotten their best 11, almost their best 11. They just need to make sure that they are going about it in the right fashion. Gujarat Titans, I think no one really gave them that good a chance at the beginning of the season, but I think they just turned up too well. It's good to see Hardik Pandya taking that responsibility, not just coming in as a finisher. He's not lived up to that role yet. He's playing an anchor of an innings, something which he's not known for, something for which the team is struggling. But every now and then you will see one blinder of an innings from an individual and Gujarat Titans, and all of a sudden they are at the winning end. You see the heroics by Rahul Tewatia. Shubman Gill is known for that particular innings, and that's why he was retained. He was retained before the auctions by the team. You have gotten good bowling lineup in terms of Ferguson, Shami, Rashid Khan. So I think they have a lot of check boxes sorted. They just need to be a little more cautious in the way they approach the game as such.
Some words on Hardik Pandya, the captain. I think we saw some cracks appear in the match yesterday. He was shouting at fielders for not coming to catches, and he was. You see some cracks in the new captain.
I think the whole selection and making it to the Indian team is just getting too much into the mindset of a lot of players, and I think that's where that frustration is coming out. You see, there was this one small snippet of a post-match interview that was there with Rohit, because of the way Mumbai had performed, and just because he hasn't been able to, come to the form. Same as with Hardik Pandya. As a bowler, he's definitely stepped up from who he was in the last World Cup, in the last T20 World Cup. As a bowler, he has stepped up. As a batter, he's almost there. As a player, he's almost there. As a captain, maybe not. He just need to. It's probably his first time, captaining the side as well. So I think he's gonna get there. It's great to see the way he has gotten back, the improvements, the way that he has gone about the entire game. As a captain, I think he still needs to be a little more. He still needs that
right?
Refining as a captain as such.
Yeah, which will come with time, I'm sure. But good to see these captains stepping up. All right, so with that, we've covered our 5 matches, our quota of matches over the weekend and yesterday. We now come to the interesting part of this, where we predict what's going to happen over the next 3 days, right? Beginning with what's happening today, cards on the table. We are halftime on RCB versus Chennai. Chennai have scored 216 for 4. Very strong innings. Rishabh, what's your prediction? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Chennai would be able to defeat RCB today. Not that I'm not supporting RCB, it's just that probably this is the pivotal point for them. This is where they realize that even if they are not playing their best 11, they're still able to defend a score. And I think that's what I said at the beginning of the game, and which is what is reflecting. They just need that one proper good team game, and that would just uplift their spirits. I think that's where they're lacking because of the whole transition that's going on. And I think a proper victory end to end would just uplift their spirits, and hopefully they should be able to turn the tide as such.
All right. Anything to watch out for, Rishabh, that you want to call
out? I would like to see the way Jadeja is able to utilize the bowlers today. They haven't really have a depth of good bowlers. So I think the way Jadeja would probably make use of Chris Jordan and Dwayne Bravo, alongside the spell that he would have, I think that would be the key to look out for.
All right. So for my worth of the money, I think a diehard RCB fan at heart. So, the thing that's giving me hope in this match, because just a few minutes ago, I said that if you hit that 215, 220, that's that inflection point where things get really dicey, right? And I stand by it. I don't think RCB has a great chance to win. That said, Chennai doesn't have a really strong bowling unit, as you just called out, right? So I'm still hopeful. We may just see a lot of rivalries at play today. You've got Josh Hazelwood, Faf, Moeen Ali, and lot of fun rivalries. So I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's say cautiously optimistic. Tomorrow is Mumbai versus Punjab. Rishabh, what do you views on Mumbai versus Punjab?
I think this would again. I'm just using the word pivot too often, but I think this is going to be this should be a make or break game for Mumbai, and I think they have lived up to that pressure every single time that they have been in. So I think tomorrow Mumbai, I feel that they would have a better chance. I think they should be able to come out as the winner of the game tomorrow. Um,
I would tend to agree as well. I think it is a make or break. I know Mumbai is great when their backs to the blue wall, but I do like the looks of this Punjab side much better than before. I do feel for Mayank as a captain. He's doing a lot of wonderful stuff, but I think in the next match more than Mayank the captain, they need Mayank the batsman to come to form. He's what that side is missing, right? He's the impetus in scoring runs and scoring those boundaries that I think Punjab is lacking. They're very heavily depending on Livingstone to pull them out of um, which he's doing to his credit. But yeah, I think if Mayank doesn't come to party tomorrow or somebody else doesn't carry the load, they might just be in trouble with cornered Mumbai. Followed by the last one, Arar versus Gujarat. But that smile on your face, Rishabh, tells me that you're going to pick Arar to win all the way. But
Absolutely, absolutely. But
Gujarat
I think
is
that match would be a lot interesting because of the battles that I probably foresee. RR this season particularly have been very good with regards to the way they've approached their batting after power play. They take things a little slowly, a little cautiously in the power play, try not to lose a lot of wickets, and then they go all guns blazing on the spinners as such. And Gujarat have that one quality spinner, uh, and they have that key that that popular figure, that common figure in terms of Rahul Tewatia as well. So I think it would be an interesting battle to watch out for as to how Rajasthan batters go against the likes of Tewatia, if not Tewatia, at least Rashid Khan, alongside the pace of Ferguson and Shami. So I think that would be one interesting thing to look out for. And again, vice versa, because of the spin twin that Rajasthan has, which has been doing wonders for them. I think the way Shubman Gill, Hardik Pandya would go about, and Matthew Wade would go about against RR spinners, I think that would be an interesting battle to watch out for.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's bound to be an interesting match. I would probably put my money on whoever wins the toss, uh, because it's just that kind of a tournament, right? So, with that, I think we're at the end of this. What was supposed to be a short, nifty show, I think it's gone up to 30 minutes or so. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe our channel for more such stuff, and we hope to have one more episode on Thursday with maybe Bidu and Tejas doing something similar. So until then. Thank you, folks. I hope you enjoyed this.
Thank you so much.